you know what I'm saying? It ain't names, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I don't want to go into just dropping names, but you look at every team in the MIAA and the BCL, like it was a high major D1 guard. It was a high major D1 big man. It was 5 NBA players, regardless of what you want to say, forward, whatever. Like we had NBA players in our era, the MIAA BCL.
This is what I think it was. This is what I think it was. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure this is what it was. When you said dominate, that's what it was. That's what Marcel. When you said dominate, then it was like, hold up. I don't know if you want to dominate. I can see you playing in every era or making in every era, but dominate, that's what it was. You want to speak to
So this is the thing with that. Speaking on that. So, and you know, the conversation was about Tech. It pretty much came down to me and Tech, like LaFonte. It wasn't
and it didn't supposed to go there.
Yeah, honestly. And I know. And this is my thing. We talk about eras, right? Mm-hmm. So we speak on like Mo Hatton. Like these are my guys. Like Mo. Like for me, like my basketball guys that I watched was Mo, Tyler Smith, Maurice Barksdale, you know, Ice. You know, I mean, I was younger, it was Stink and all them guys. Yeah. And I didn't know about LaFonte until I got a little bit older, but I knew LaFonte. So I get Marcel's like, all right, Tech. Like Tay was more polished. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a skilled point guard. Right. But when I talk about my game, I was a basketball, like I knew how to play basketball the right way. So if you throw me in any era, I didn't get ranked from being the most athletic. I didn't get ranked from being the biggest, the most physical. I didn't get ranked from being, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not why I got ranked. So I know how to play basketball. I could play in any situation, in any environment. You can't tell me like, oh, in this era, the city was thicker. Like, I averaged 20 in the Catholic League with a McDonald's All-American on my team.
Yeah.
Like we talking about, like, we can't talk about numbers. I averaged 20 with a McDonald's, with a top 10 player in the country on my team. I averaged 20. So imagine if I would have went to Dunbar. like realistically, like think about Tez, like think about this. And we're talking about basketball numbers. Like I tell you, like I had to even go back because I'm like, damn, like, did I not have a great year? I averaged.
We all know the city ain't strong as the Catholic League. So if you average 20 in the Catholic League, that's like a 30, 35 piece in the city.
But listen, not just 20. I averaged 20 shooting 56% from 3, shoot 54% from 2, and 82 from the line. I averaged 20 in the Catholic League.
That's crazy.
56, 54, 82.
That's
20.
Crazy.
So imagine, like, that's even if I shoot 40%, 45%, and I go in the city and shoot 20 times a game, imagine what I've done in the city.
Now, people, he scored 2,112 points
in 3 years.
In 3 years. In 3 years. So go ahead.
So that's why I'm like, I be laughing like, all right, I get the era talk. And I played, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was getting out the games to watch Tyler, to watch Gerald, to watch, like, what I would have done in that era, like, easy 35, like 30, 35, like easy. Like it wouldn't even have been like, if I didn't have to pass the ball to do this, like I did that with a McDonald's All-American on my team.
Now, let me ask you something. All right, and not in no order. Don't put it in no order. Give me 10, if you can, give me 10 guards. 10 guards. No, give me your top 3 guards that you will want to play against in any era. Like the guys that you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if it's the Stinks, I don't care if it's Skip Wise. Just give me 3 guys that you wouldn't mind playing against.
So that, I mean, I would have to say, you know what I'm saying, LaFonte, Tyler Smith, like they my favorite. Tyler Smith, my favorite guys, and Mo. You know, like in high school, like they would. I guess that would be the 3. You know, I got a lot of them, but them 3 right there is like I said, those are guys like, and Tyler and like I idolized Tyler and Mo. So like them, like they couldn't do no wrong. And Tyler played for my father, so you know what I'm saying. I was up under them. Like I studied like every move that they did. Like I stole, like everything. The stretches they used to do. Like it was funny, bro. Like I used to see like Rebo do stretches down Dunbar. I'm like, damn, I'll go right back to AAU, do the stretch. Like I'm in practice with them. They doing like, oh, we gonna DC this, long cross this. I'm like, hold up. let me go home, long cross. Like I see Keefe in and out, in and out. I'm like, let me go try it. Like I was stealing all that. I didn't idolize NBA players. You know what I'm saying? When I grew up, like, of course, like AI changed the game. I was always a Jordan fan, but like none of my stuff came from NBA players. Like it all came from Baltimore guards. So like I studied it.
Now, Malcolm. Now your last 2 years up Towers Academy, your junior year, right? That senior year you signed to Virginia Tech. Was there any other schools that you were thinking about other than Virginia Tech?
Yeah. So initially me and Tay wanted to go to school as a package deal.
Okay.
And like that was the thing. It was like once we became sophomores and we both started getting some of the same offers, we was like, yo, me and Tay want to go to school together. So it was Maryland, and Maryland didn't offer Tech. They offered me, but they didn't offer Tech. And we was going up there playing with them in college, sophomore year. Like they chose somebody else. They chose Julian Vaughn over Tech. So I'm like, all right, Maryland did. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't like how they was recruiting me. That was dead. Then it kind of shifted. You know, Tay junior year, he took off.
Right.
So his junior year, he started getting different looks. And at this point, we was idolizing Melo.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, all right, Melo, Syracuse. I'm like, I'll go to Syracuse. Like Syracuse had offered Tay. So I'm like, I'm waiting for my Syracuse offer. Like, you know what I'm saying? So Tay ended up like, as soon as they offered Tay, he committed. Okay. So I'm like I'm at TC, I ain't commit yet. I'm waiting for this Syracuse offer, and Syracuse never offered me. Okay. Like it never offered me. So my list, I think it ended up being, it was VTech, Clemson, who was it? VTech, Clemson, Indiana. And mind you, I was so Nike, like Nike, I was so Nike ride or die. I didn't accept any offers from Adidas schools.
Wow.
And so like looking back at it, like, you know, Louisville, Pitt, some of these Adidas, a lot of these schools that was Adidas before, I never even, like, I didn't entertain the offer because I was so loyal to Nike. And it's crazy, like this, like, you know, looking back at it, I'm like, it was some schools that was closer to home, that was Big East, and also I wanted to play in the ACC.
Now that seemed like that Virginia Tech seemed like, all right, that seemed like a fit. I know you and your pops, you and your family talked about it before you made the decision. What was the conversation like? All
right, so the Virginia Tech was easy for me. Initially they was Adidas school, so they was recruiting me first, and I was like, nah, they're Adidas. Like I ain't like their uniforms, like the basketball swag was just terrible. Mm-hmm. Like nah, but they switched to Nike, and Wake Forest was my dream school. You know, Chris Paul. When I got to that age, Chris Paul was my favorite guard. So I was like, Wake offered me, I'm going. So it's crazy. I played up junior year. We played Loyola, and their coach came to watch me play, and they was gonna offer me. So the first half I didn't score. Okay. So he called the dude that was recruiting me, Tim Fuller, and then Tim Fuller is my guy to this day. He left Wake pretty much because they didn't sign him. And this is CP's right hand.
Wow.
Called Tim Fuller, was like, yo, like, I don't know what you seeing him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Blah, blah. I had 26 in the second half. He called him back, was like, we got to get him on a visit. Mm-hmm. And so Tim called me right at the game. He's like, bro, I don't know what you did in the second half, but first half, coach was ready to leave. He's like, but the Catholic League was so boring. Like when we got to our senior year, everybody just held the ball. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we the games wasn't as fun. So we had, like, sometimes I had to turn up because somebody was there that I wanted to, that was a school I wanted to go to. So I had to, but I went to a visit to Wake. It was my unofficial. I was going to commit. I told my father, I'm like, look, if they offer me right here, I'm committing. They was playing Virginia Tech, right? So they played a game. V-Tech ended up winning. Okay. And a dude on V-Tech had 40. So I'm like, I'm in the stands. I'm like, hold up. And the Virginia Tech, like, coaches looking at me on my visit at Wake, they like, oh, this nigga here, he about to go to Wake. But I seen AD Visayo get 40. So I'm like Coach Greenberg letting the guards go at V-Tech. I don't know. I'm going to have to, you know what I'm saying? And so I talked to them after. They like, look, we got 4 guys that's graduating. You know, Jamon and Xavier, both was all ACC. And the backup point guard was leaving. Mm-hmm. So they like, yo, you got to play here. And for me, you know, I always took the challenge of, I wanted to play against Duke. I want to play against UNC. Like Maryland, all right, y'all didn't offer. Like the fact that they didn't offer Tay, I took that personally.
Okay.
So I'm like, I ain't go there. So when I played Maryland, I'm killing them. Like it was like, you know what I'm saying? Mentally, I just broke it down like that. And once I knew they was leaving, Greenberg was like, look, like we gonna give you the keys your freshman year, and it's gonna be your program once you get here. That's all I need to hear. This would be for my visit. And rest in peace to Keon Carpenter. But my senior year, Carp took me to VTech. Like we went like unofficial visit. We went to a basketball game. They played Clemson. And Carp was just giving me the rundown about VTech, you know, how it could be a good fit for me. He was like my mentor my senior year going into VTech. So, you know, shout out to Carp. He kind of played a little role in that too. He definitely helped me through that process as well.
Now, you down in VTech as a freshman in the ACC. You know what I'm saying? The freshmen in the ACC. Tell them how you felt that your freshman year. You in Cameron, you in the things of like how that felt.
Man, look, so my freshman year, like I was coming off of high school, I killed. And I'm like, I ain't know what I was doing. I ain't know what to expect. It was like I said, my body wasn't really developed to be like a starting point guard in ACC. And, you know, when I came into the ACC, it was like Sean Singletary, like, you know, I had Jack. It was Tony Douglas. Like every guard that I played against in ACC my freshman year was first round or second round picks. Everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, Ty Lawson. You had Ish Smith. You had, you know what I'm saying? Like Jeff Teague. Like their whole team.
Jeff Teague was tough. I love that. He was tough.
Tyrese Wright. So like,
who was the toughest though?
I would have to say Tony Douglas.
Okay.
Like Ty Lawson, Tony Douglas, and Jack was the three. You know, the three guys. And so, like, I'm like, all right, I didn't know. And this is like the same thing when I went to TC. I went to Virginia Tech, and I didn't want to, like, impose myself on the team because we had Devon Washington. He was, like, the star. Mm-hmm. We still had A.D. Visayo, the dude I said I signed there for because he had 40. We still had him. So I'm like, all right, let me just come in, play my role. Right. So the first 5-6 games, I didn't start because I wasn't a pure point guard. They wanted to start a point guard. Okay. And I was a combo, so they didn't start me. We lost a couple games. And Greenberg, we was going to the Garden for Christmas. He's like, yo, the Hoop Ball Classic and the Garden. He's like, look, you starting. Like literally, they just walked in my room the night before the game. Was like, look, you start tomorrow, your first game starting. I was sick. Like I had like this is the funny story about college. Like, so my first game starting, I got caught with a girl in my room.
Okay.
So look, he come in there, I'm sick, and I had the girl in the room. So he come in there to tell me I'm starting. I made the girl go running into the bathroom, turn the shower on, act like I was about to take a shower. She left her purse. Man. So the assistant coach like, yo, who bag is that? So I'm like, fuck. Like, this is my first game starting college at the Garden. I get caught. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, this over with. But they ain't even say nothing. Like, and that's like literally, bro, that started my college career. Like, from that day on, I started, and like my confidence just kept growing, bro. Like, it was growing. Like, I wasn't really scoring. I think I averaged like nine my freshman year. Uh-huh. And then
your sophomore, junior year, you turned it on. You turned it on. Like what your sophomore year? Did you think NBA? Did you think NBA at that time, your sophomore year?
So going into my sophomore year, it was funny. I talked to my brother, and he was like, I was just thinking about like scoring. And it's funny, like I just watched the Melo podcast about how Jordan broke down scoring to him. Mm-hmm. My brother did the same thing for me after my freshman year. Literally, he was like, yo, like, he's like, you could average 20. He was like, you could average 20 in the ACC. And like, you know what I'm saying? I averaged 9 my freshman year. So it was like going from 9 to 20 with a stretch. I'm like, it's a stretch. And then he was just like, bro, like the way you can get to the line, he was like, you easily could get 20. So I'm thinking about it. I'm like, all right. Like, I started studying how to draw fouls. So it's like, when I come off a ball screen, I know how they're going to play me. Everybody's boxing one in me. And like my whole life, like high school, boxing one. AAU, boxing one. Like I've been playing against boxing ones my whole life, and people was beating me up.
Right.
So I studied how to draw fouls, and he was like, "Yo, if you get to the line 5 or 6 times, they're gonna stop fouling you, or you're gonna score 10 to 12 at the line nightly."
Right.
He was like, if you get 8 to 10 from the line, you can get 20. He's like, you score 4 or 5 other buckets, you're gonna get 20. So I studied the art of drawing fouls going into my sophomore year. I'm like, all right, if I go off a ball screen this way, the big gonna show. I'm gonna just run right into his hip. This is a foul every time. This is how the referees call it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that foul. I'm in every screener situation. So if I just go set a good screen, most big men gonna run right through me. I'm gonna just take the charge, or I'm gonna let him run through me. I'm gonna get fouled. End of the game, I'm not giving the ball up. So, you know what I'm saying? My mentality was different when it came to scoring. It's like, all right. And once I broke it down like that, like soon as sophomore year, and shout out to Mello, that like Bay, like they brought me in. I was in Baltimore, and this is like I'm still in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't get in gyms to work out. And when I was in college, we had to beg people to get into gyms. You know what I'm saying? And, I couldn't go home, couldn't get in the gym. So like I had reached out and I asked Mello, like, yo, like, and I talked to Bay, I'm like, yo, I just need to get out the city. Like, I want to come work out.
Right.
And like, Draper, like they brought me to Atlanta. It was Draper, China, and Mello. And, I got a chance to work, and like just seeing how like Mello was moving, like
see how pros move?
Yeah, it changed the whole mentality of my motivation to the league.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm competing with Mello. Like, man, I know if I go back to college. So once I got back to college, going into my sophomore year, I'm like, bro, it's over. And I think like the first month of the season, I had 37 on Clemson my sophomore year. And after that game, I just felt like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, all right, like it's like Bob Knight gave me credit, Dickie V gave me credit. I'm like, I'm on the scene now. So now I really got to lock in, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody know, and I went from averaging 9 to 18, you know what I'm saying? 18, 19, making second team on ACC.
Yeah, yeah. Now you was hunting your sophomore year, your junior, senior year, God's hunting you. Did you how that felt?
It was crazy. After my sophomore year, it's like going into junior year, now it's like I get invited to Darren Williams camp. I get invited to LeBron. Now it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was always around like ranked the top guys, but like I was never like the guy. Like I was never the guy that people came to see. So now it's like, all right, when I'm in practice in college, we got scouts. Mm-hmm. When I'm playing, I'm seeing like scouts. So I'm like, all right, like I can't, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I couldn't miss a game regardless of my injuries or whatever. Like I can't miss a game because it's an opportunity for me to show people what I can do. My body started to develop a lot better. I started taking the weights a lot more serious.
Okay.
Like the habits and stuff I was doing, I started taking that a lot more serious. Tay was in SAC. So instead of like hanging in the hood, I was going to SAC. Like I was out there hanging with him, you know what I'm saying, trying to, get in the gym. Like everything started changing. And it started coming like, all right, maybe I could really, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm on some preseason All-American lists. They got me like preseason first team on ACC. So now it's like, all right, I gotta perform now. Like it's, I gotta be in the gym. And junior year, like, and this is another thing that people don't understand. I was leading, I think I was top 5 in the country in scoring throughout the first 4 or 5 games. Mm-hmm. And I had a bad ankle injury. So I had a grade 2 sprain, a bone bruise in my left ankle. And we was about to go play in Cancun. I hurt my ankle. It was 4-6 week injury. I sat out 1 game. So my junior year, and like I said, I started out as I'm averaging 24, 25. And like I said, now in college, 20 was easy to me. On my worst night, I could get 20. Like I could go 3 for 12 and get 20.
You mastered how to score, how you wanted to score. Yeah.
So I was getting 20 regardless. And so when I got hurt, my thought process was like, man, if I don't play, like I ain't going to the league. And it was the wrong mentality to have. Not looking back at that now, like it was the worst mentality to have because I had already proven myself.
Right.
But the first ACC game was UNC. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, we going to Cancun. I'm going to miss Cancun. I'm not missing UNC.
Right.
So literally 4-6 week injury. I played in a week. So they was taping my ankle up to almost like the mid calf. I had to take pills and I had to get the shot. It was so bad my junior year, I got addicted. Like I had a withdrawal from the medicine.
Damn.
So like just to play, like, and that's this the season I led the ACC in scoring. This is what people don't know. I played hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to, like I did all that just to play. Led the ACC in scoring. And I put my name in the draft. And that year in ACC, and people, we talking about numbers in college and whatever, like look at my numbers that year in ACC, like how many 20, 30-point games I had, you know what I'm saying, against the top guys.
Right.
But when I put my name in the draft, I had never worked out without taking painkillers. So I went to Portland and worked out, killed it. After the workout, I couldn't walk. I got on the plane, I couldn't walk. And this was the first year they changed the rule, the draft rule. They told us we had 2 weeks to decide if we was entering or going back to school. I couldn't go through the process and then come back to school. So my agent at the time was like, look, we got to make a quick decision. He was like, you can stay in. Everybody was telling me I was second round and I was working my way into the first. You know what I'm saying? But once I knew I couldn't work out, I was like, I can't work my way into the first round if I just, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't going to go just because they said second round, because the league wasn't that important for me.
Right.
I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't go through this. So I'm going to go back to school.
Smart decision.
So if I was healthy, I stay in the draft, I for sure would have went first round. But I was, you know what I'm saying? I never even talked about that. I didn't care. I just went back and got back to it. You know what I'm saying?
Now your senior year, the ACC tournament, you know what I'm saying? That ACC tournament, can you run a people by that? Like, I mean, you had a good tournament. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So junior year, we was really good. And mind you, and we got scammed out the tournament 3 years. If we make the tournament one of those years in the NCAA tournament, I get drafted easily.
Right.
We were the first ACC team in history to go 10-6 and 9-7 and not get in the tournament in history.
That's great.
We did it twice. We did 10-6, 9-7, and we didn't get in. So fast forward to senior year, preseason, I was predicted. I should have got player of the year in my junior year. They gave it to Grievous Vasquez and John Shire, co-player of the year, when I led the league in scoring, and we finished top 4 in the league. Yeah. I didn't get player of the year. Okay, cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, it's different motivation. I'll come back senior year. I was preseason player of the year and preseason. We was preseason #1 in the ACC.
Okay.
Shout out to Alan Chaney. He transferred from Florida to Tect, another Baltimore guy. He transferred, had a health issue, you know what I'm saying, where he had a heart issue where he had to get a defibrillator, and he passed out on the court, you know, like a month before the season started. So we lost him. We had 2 seniors who had ACL shoulder surgery. So my whole team, my senior year, was pretty much like, the reason I came back, it was done. Yeah. We was playing with football walk-ons, like, you know what I'm saying? So we still finished top 4 in the ACC my senior year, and we didn't even have our team. And I was second in the ACC in scoring. I think my average dropped like 0.6 or something like that. Like I was averaging like 19.4, 19.5. But everybody was telling me like, yo, you need to prove, the scouts are saying you need to prove you're a point guard. Like now it was the transition between combo point guard. If you want to get paid, you play point guard.
Okay.
So I toned it down. I'm like, all right. Instead of trying to get
that pick and roll, you mastered that thing. That right. Pick and roll, even at that age, at that time, you had that thing. Go ahead, talk. Go ahead. My fault, cut you off, but go ahead.
So my game changed from, like you said, like, and remember I told you I broke down this pick and roll stuff, like the spots I would attack, get fouled. Now I'm starting to look at what pass options I have. Because I had 2 rules, you know, shoot or hit the roll guy. That was Greenberg gave me 2 rules. When you play pick and roll, first option, shoot. Second option, I had Jeff Allen.
Okay.
That's it. It was no, like, I didn't know how to hit the 45 or weak side corner. So, like, my senior year, they was like, look, we want you to be a point guard. We want you to show you can do this. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll tone down the scoring. I'll be more efficient. My percentages need to go up. I was healthy. I'm like, all right, I'm going to just go for higher percentages and more assists, make sure people get involved. So literally, points dropped 1, everything else went up. And they said, oh, you wasn't aggressive enough. So I'm like, all right. Then I started seeing the politics of everything. We got into the ACC tournament, and we lost it. We ended up losing to Duke. And it's the team. Kyrie didn't play, but this was that year. Kyrie came. Nolan Smith got Player of the Year. They ended up. Did they win it that year or they lost? I think they lost that year, but we lost to Duke, and then that was just history right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a lot of stuff that went on in college that people don't even understand. The like I said, the year that I led the ACC in scoring, how I did it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I did that. The same injury I had in Virginia Tech, I had it in Atlanta. My final game in Atlanta, I did the same injury. Wow. And it was 6 to 8 weeks, and I had to get surgery. So I played from that year at VTech, 08, 09, up until Atlanta on that bad ankle, and hurt it again the same way. And they told me 6 to 8 weeks and surgery. So I played in 1 week in college after that.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but was that injury when you took with the Hawks? Was that a reason why you ain't come back? Was that one of the reasons why you ain't come back to the league, that you went back overseas?
Nah, so with the Hawks, you
played good with them.
Yeah, my first year I was top 10 in the league in plus minus. Mm-hmm. Going into All-Star break, they were mad that I didn't get picked rookie sophomore game. They was calling the league they was mad that I didn't make rookie sophomore game. So it went from that until the second half of the season. They started changing what they wanted to do. So they was trying to figure out, should they tear everything apart, or, you know what I'm saying, should they keep us together and make a push? Mind you, we was top 4 in the East. Mm-hmm. And we was a playoff team, solid. We was competing with the Cavs would have been our, you know what I'm saying? And they decided, the guy who brought me in was the GM. They decided they wanted to start making trade assets available. Okay. So they traded Kyle Korver. They started pushing Tim Hardaway. And when they started pushing Tim Hardaway, that kind of took my role in the second unit down. Okay. So now, like, they giving Tim the ball, you know what I'm saying? It's his contract year. They either want to trade him or pay him. Okay. So now I'm getting caught up in the business side of it. It's like, all right, now I'm just sitting around. I was top 5 in the league in mid-range jumpers. Mm-hmm. And like I said, this is fact. These are all facts. They told me that they didn't want a point guard shooting mid-range jumpers. They wanted me to shoot more threes. So that was a knock, you know what I'm saying, on my rookie year. It's like, all right, I wasn't shooting the three well, but I'm shooting 65% from mid-range. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, playing my role. They didn't play me in the playoff. They brought in Jose Calderon. We match up with the Wizards, and the matchup is Calderon, Brandon Jennings. Jennings torched me. Mm-hmm. And then they had Paul and Bill together. Like, I needed to play that series, but they didn't play me. Right. So I'm like, all right. That summer, it was like my exit meeting. They was like, look, we want you to be like your overseas Malcolm. So I'm like, shit. I call my agent. I'm like, bro, they telling me like I can get to my shit now. You know what I'm saying? They like, we tear everything apart. We're gonna rebuild, and everything is fair game now. It was like the only player that spot is solid is Dennis, point guard. It was like, everything else, we're gonna play you off the ball some. I'm like, all right, cool. Mind you, I haven't played off the ball in, I don't know, my whole rookie year, I never played off the ball. So they never seen me play at the 2. Okay. And so that summer, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna lock in. Like, I didn't really come home. Mm-hmm. I stayed in Atlanta. I trained with the trainers in Atlanta. I told my trainer, I was like, bro, I ain't working out with you this year. I'm staying with the team. I'm locking in. Mm-hmm. Had the best summer. I was in great shape. Killed all summer. Got into preseason. I think I averaged like 13 and 5 in 5 or 6 preseason games. So I'm thinking like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Everything cool. First game of the season, they bring up 3 G League players. So my first stint, I played. Mm-hmm. I had like 5 and 2 assists in the first like 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I come out, my second stint, I'm supposed to go in. They don't put me in. They put in the G League player. Okay. So I'm like, hold up, like something ain't right. But I'm like, all right, I ain't gonna say nothing. Second half come, they did the same thing. I ended up playing 11 minutes the first game. I averaged 19 minutes, 20 minutes my rookie year. Okay. So I'm like, 11, 12 minutes. Like, nah, not in my contract year. We ain't about to do this. Yeah. So second game, same thing happened. And I was like, now I'm mad. Like, I'm asking the assistant coach. I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? Like,
what's going on?
Bro, he like, I can't tell you. He's like, bro, you're on the depth chart at 2. He was like, your minutes is supposed to be locked in. He was like, maybe you need to talk to Bud. So I called my agent. I'm like, bro, look, I ain't going through this shit this year. Like this is my contract year. Like, you know what I'm saying? If they not gonna play me here or they trying to rebuild, like, get me out of here.
Right.
So I go talk to the coach. He like, look, he was like, I know we told you like this summer we wanted you to be aggressive, but we got a lot of young players on the team. We trying to showcase. He was like, you know what I'm saying? We love what you bring on the defensive end. He's like, we don't need another point guard to score. He's like, we need you. He was like, we need you to facilitate. Mind you, the second unit was not good. So he's like, we want you to facilitate, and you know what I'm saying, just offensively, we don't need your